What's good, YouTube? Jonathan Moore back here, and we're going to do another top 10 after Konami's emergency ban list. So we saw a lot of things get hit really bad. We saw Perform Age Plushfire, ban. Perform Age Damage Juggler, ban. Luster to 1, Monkey Board to 1, Ptolemaeus, ban. So no easy rank ups into Cyber Dragon and Infinity. So starting off, I always do some honorable mentions. So Teller Knights, I feel, have really fallen off. A lot of the decks just hard counter them. They can't really do much to Magispectors. They can't really do much to Monarchs. Monarchs really hurt their big setup cards, such as Trevere, and their setups, while that when they get going, they're really strong. That's why they're in honorable mentions, but I do not feel like they are a top 10 deck currently. And if you feel otherwise, go ahead and post in the comments which top 10 deck you think I should replace with them. Perhaps number 10, because it is a hard call for me on number 10. Other honorable mention is Psyframes. Psyframes, I still see a lot of high-ranked duelists on Dueling Network do really well with them, and I know a lot of you are going to say Dueling Network's not a very strong, like, you know, thing to say, but when you can consistently be in the top 100 to 200 of Dueling Network, you didn't just make it there, like, you're consistently there. It is a show of something against the entire meta. Like, you're facing a lot of Rogue and a lot of different decks to be there, and so you have to have some amount of skill to be there and stay there. So let's get into our actual top 10. First, Deskbots. Now, I know Deskbots have quite a few problems with consistency, but they're going to be one of the decks that can go raw, as you see Despot 5 behind them all, raw into Cyber Dragon Infinity still. So they get access to that for very, very low resources. Despot 3 is very, very good. Despot 4. Now, one of their main problems is that they're so battle-based, and you see a lot of side deck techs like Quaking Mirror Force. Like, we saw at the ARG this last weekend, and the Counter Fairy deck used Quaking Mirror Forces, and a lot of people have been opting to side them. Also, the Kaiju engine stops 4 from being too big of a threat, and can take care of the problem cards like 3. So, Kaijus are very splashable. They're not in my top 10 either. Spoilers. Kaijus, they're a very good tech engine to counter and hard counter certain decks, such as Monarchs and Cosmo. But Kaijus really, as a deck themselves, cannot just get there. They can win some games, but I don't feel they can consistently go through a tournament. They have way too many brick hands, and even though the spell was amazing for them, more amazing than I thought, it's really just a tech engine. But Despots, definitely, their weakness is being battle-based, and a lot of people already side Cyber Dragon and Chimera Tech for Cosmo. So it's a lot of people have a natural side deck for this deck. And we get to number 9. We have Heroes. I need a hero. You need a hero. We all need heroes. It's a really cheap deck, really easy to get. It's still one of the best rank 4 engines. Dark Law is now even stronger, although Monarchs really hurt it. So, like, a really good side deck for them is what's needed, because game 1's going to be rough and you're going to have to go through 2 games. But they have amazing ability to set up back rows, amazing card in Dark Law. They have a way to just wipe the entire spell and trap zone with, as you see over here, Acid. Definitely one of the best decks, no question about it. Like, I would call them the new Gladiator Beast if you're an old duelist. They always become relevant at the beginning of formats or change, and very good. They're always able to do consistent. They do well at some of the biggest regionals. Let's go ahead and get into number 8. I'm going to say that Odd Eyes is going to remain number 8 now. With the Perform Age engine hit so bad, you're going to see Magician variants coming back, and Odd Eyes Magicians are one of the strongest. With no Damage Juggler, you're going to be able to wipe using Utopia Beyond and Odd Eyes 8,000 damage on board for game a whole lot more. Like, it's going to become a very relevant combo again, as it was before Pepe. But Monarchs are able to use tricks to tribute on your turn, and you're able to face a lot of different decks than you were during that format. So they're not going to be as high as they were during that format, but still very much so a contender. And number 7, we have Magispectors. Magispectors are pretty much still relevant. We saw them top 16 the ARG and Pepe format. Full power Pepe, and we still saw Magispectors top. The reason being is that now with Toad and QB, you're able to really set up even more back row. And I know a lot of people are going to be citing Denko Seka upcoming, as they still are, but Magispectors not being able to be targeted by opponents' cards effects, not able to be destroyed, so there's no clean board wipes. and still very strong ability in Kieran. You're going to see Magispectors probably become a little more prevalent at the start of this format. And the choices on if they'll fade out or not is up to how the format develops. I think Monarchs, again, are very strong since Stormforth does not target, so you have to kind of do certain things, but you can also probably tech Kieran and Apex Avion. Apex Avion is very strong both in Odd Eyes Magician and this deck, and if you Pendulum Summon just it, it's very hard for Monarchs to go off. Like, if they're going to summon Idea, you can, like, negate its effect, or if they're going to activate the field spell, they can't activate the effect to reduce the level by 2 unless they want Avion to bounce, and then you leave nothing out, and then they would have to Idea and go off. And then you would have to have no back row on top of that. And then side decking, of course, a huge thing with Monarchs. Monarchs already have trouble opening consistent. So when they have trouble opening consistent and you're able to side cards, it becomes a pretty harsh matchup. Number 6 is Burning Abyss. I actually left this out of my top 10 last time, and I would like to say that they definitely deserve their spot. They're the deck that by far abuses Twin Twister the most, and upcoming you'll see that if they get setups with their Summon Negation ready, if they have their Summon Negation just ready for their opponent, like you get your board set up and get 2 Summon Negations, you're almost definitely going to win during this format. But if you only get 1 Summon Negation set up, then it's going to be very harsh. It's going to be Stormforth is going to get through a lot of things. Cosmo, if they draw the teleport, are going to get through a lot of things. So it's going to be heavily dependent on drawing the back row. So a lot of people are going to play more back row to counteract that, and setting up is going to be very hard. But you have the 3 Rhino Warriors now, so you can probably get a good mashup of traps and monsters. But through a long tournament, the Brick Squad can be real by just drawing back rows or monsters. So setting up a huge field of monsters that they can't get through is going to be important for facing Cosmo, but at the same time, that setup can be pretty costly against Monarchs. So let's go ahead and get into my number 5 call, Infernoids. Infernoids are definitely going to be on the up and up here. Void Imagination is one of the strongest, most underestimated cards that exist. It's the hard counter to BA, this deck, because they can get through most disruptions. They're inherent summons, so they get through a lot of things, and the deck's just really good in general. You have Triple Reasoning, you have Monster Gate, you have Void Imagination if you want to play 2 or 3, maybe 1, depending on how you want to set up your extra deck, and one of the decks that best abuses Omega still. So you definitely want to be considering maybe side decking a few things for this. Infernoid's definitely a powerhouse to come. And the number 4 spot, I heavily underestimated this deck. We have Water. As Pepe is on the decline with the emergency ban, Water's setups become even stronger. They're probably the deck that's going to most consistently OTK. Definitely very, very strong. Double Dragons, the only problem being 1 Diva, but you have 3 Prince, you have 1 for 1, you have the setups with Megalo, and again, their main problem is going to be that we have Dweller in a lot of the rank 4 extra decks, and Dweller is this deck abuses Dweller better than anyone, getting extra effects off of Dweller. It's also heavily hurt by Dweller, so there's going to be a lot of problems facing that, and when you have, you know, access to hard counter in everybody's extra deck, it's going to be very difficult for them to fight. Number 3, I'm going to put Magicians, and I'm going to put the asterisk of Performapals, because Performapals are definitely still one of the strongest engines despite the heavy hits to perform mages and the Pendulum deck. But Magicians, however, Magicians are super strong. You saw them be the strongest deck in January. There's no way that the strongest deck beforehand just weans off. Like, it was completely replaced by Performapals, and now that that's hit, you're going to see a lot of hybrid decks with Magicians. I put Odd Eyes separate on this list as Magicians earlier because Odd Eyes Magicians dedicate a lot of space to the extra deck and main deck with Sky Iris, with other cards, so it's like a completely different deck. But Magician, Performapal, and Magicians in general, they're going to have the sickest setups in the game. They're going to be able to hard counter a lot of stuff. If you don't hard draw Idea against a Naturia Beast, you are in big trouble. So Naturia Beast is definitely going to see its way making turn 1 appearances, but again, Cosmo really can get through Naturi Beast, but Cosmo also play a lot of spells, so Cosmo kind of have to hard draw the tag out. And so we get into our number 2 deck, Monarchs. Monarchs, a lot of people making jokes about bricks, but now you're going to get a few extra turns because you're not dying right away. Only Mermails pretty much are capable of that, perhaps Burning Abyss, but consistently, you're going to get a couple of turns now, and Monarchs are going to be able to get out of their brick squad and get going. Now, Summon Negation is huge. Solemn Strike really hurts this deck more than anything I would think. You really need access to Idea, but as we've seen, you're able to just make strong boards, tribute on your opponent's turn, do some of the best things in the game with this deck, and Erebus is the man. I learned that the hard way. Erebus is pretty cool. I actually haven't lost the Monarchs yet, but I've been playing full power Pepe, so I'm going to take a lot of L's learning new decks against them. That Stormforth not tributing, definitely one of the biggest things that you could expect out of this deck. And I would have to say, Monarchs, yeah, for 3 structure decks, if you're not buying this and at least testing it to learn how to play against it, or testing it to have as a backup deck for tournaments when you just don't feel like, you know, maybe your strategy is very strong, it's a deck you need to have. So definitely go buy 3 structures. Like, it's not hard. 30 bucks. You're not breaking any kind of bank to play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore if you're playing Monarchs. Now, the most expensive deck and our number 1 deck is Cosmo. There's a reason it is skyrocketing right now. While Monarchs are a pretty hard counter, if Monarchs don't get set up right, they're just getting attacked through game. And as we know, now that the format is changing, Cosmo will be so comfortable going second again. Cosmo have tin can, they're comfortable going first or second. They have so much utility, it's crazy, and they're only going to get better because Konami is still going to be releasing cards for them. Cosmo is definitely, without a doubt, the best deck. You have access to dump 2 big ships in the grave and get 1 to hand. The sickest setups with Call of the Haunted, able to play artifacts or not if you want. Most are skipping artifacts because Monarchs are so prevalent now. Most are choosing to go out of it because it's going to be the deck they're going to have the most problems with, and they do nothing in the mirror match. But you can side the artifact engine if you're still scared of pendulum decks. Now, Cosmos definitely have some of the best boss monsters, being Dark Destroyer. You tag out, pop a card on the field, and it can't be, I believe, targeted by opponents' card effects at all. So that's the way most of their big ships are: Forerunner, Dark Destroyer, and Eclipser. Eclipser grabbing cards to hand, Forerunner and Dark Destroyer bringing them to the field. But like I said, this is my opinion. If you have anything different, any other opinions, feel free to post them in the comments. Do you think Monarchs are number 1 now? Do you think Pepe Pendulums are still somehow number 1? Do you think that Satellars deserve their spot in this top 10? Like, if you really do think they should replace any decks, let me know. I could see them being over desk bots, but pretty much not any other deck. I just kind of have a soft spot since I'm always on this desk up here. So, bad puns aside, I really appreciate this being one of the main forums online to talk about decks, and you all have kept it super civil in the past in the comments below. Keep it that way. I really enjoy everybody that's been a part of these, and thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure. And, you know, smash that follow button on Twitch.